Hey there, welcome to day 17 of our Get Up and Go 40-day challenge. Today is all about what now? What do we do now? We've gone through our SOAP framework for the second time. Maybe you used the same area of your life, maybe you used a different one. I've gone through physical and emotional now. So I've gone through our 7 areas. Remember, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, financial, relationships, and contribution. Those are not my made-up categories. I think I learned it from Tony Robbins probably 30 or more years ago. Probably even could be 35 years ago. And for the most part, I have spent, years, and sometimes we pay more attention than others, but for all those years, on and off, at least on an annual basis, I would look at these areas of my life and I would say, how am I doing in each of those areas? And to be honest, some of those areas I was epically failing in. My physical well-being and health for like 2 decades, it would be like a 2, right? I was just doing enough to get by, but I wasn't taking good care of myself because I was focusing on relationships or financial or spiritual or living, in a weird mindset. But I found it's really interesting. The notebook that I chose to do the 40-day, I always, when I start a challenge, I map out, okay, what do I want to do on the 40 days? So I just number a piece of paper, 1 through 40, and then I just talk about, okay, what's the key point, the key one thing I want to make sure that we talk about on that day. So for example, today, day 17 is what now, what now, and I can't read it. Where's my magnifying glass? Get my magnifying glass. What now, and then I actually found something I'm going to share with you right now, which I called my Daily 7 back in 2014. And then I'm going to personally pick another area to go through the SOAP model again, because we're going to go through the SOAP model till it becomes second nature, not only for me, but for you as well, so that you know story, situation, options. What are my options? What are all the possibilities? Action, how to take action immediately to move you toward what you want, and then how to make sure you're making progress toward what it is that you want. So I did my physical, I did financial, which, they're both still in progress, right? We don't say, oh, I'm going to do this one thing for 4 days and I'm going to fix it forever. More power to you. And if you've got a story like that, share it in the comments below. But I think these are the areas of our life that we're continuously improving in. We're always making progress on them, right? We're not just doing one thing and voila, everything is fixed. Now, maybe if you won the Powerball lottery, that would fix your finances. I don't know, probably not, because your mindset and everything else would probably still be the same as it was before. So I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Our action item today is going to be what now? And we're going to ask ourselves, of these 7 areas, what do we want to run through? What do you want to run through the SOAP model again on? I am going to actually pick my other lowest area. And to be honest, this is the one I probably should have picked first, because it's the one I have the most emotional baggage and significant challenges with right now in just some types of my relationships. Not all types of my relationships, but there's this saying, how we do anything is how we do everything. So it gets me to wondering if all of my relationships don't need some help and some up-leveling. And so that's part of why I probably should have picked relationships first. But our action item is going to be today is to say and ask yourself, which of these 7 areas am I going to go through the SOAP model again? If you're making progress and you feel like you're getting some traction, or even if you feel like you're not in the same area of your life, go ahead and do the same one again. But like I said, I'm going to demonstrate and go through it with different areas of my life so I can be an example, so I can show you that we can be doing work in each of these areas no matter what. For example, I went through it the first time with my physical well-being, and I'm continuing to not eat sugar. I gotta tell you, it's getting harder and harder because my granddaughter and her mom showed up with homemade brownies yesterday, and I made them take them home at the end of the day because I didn't want the temptation around the house to eat sugar, because I told myself, I committed to myself for the rest of the 40-day challenge, no sugar, no processed sugar. And what do brownies have? A whole lot of sugar in them. And then, you'd have to have ice cream and caramel sauce on them to make them really good. So I just said no. So although that was the first one I went through the SOAP foundational model with, I didn't just quit because I switched to something different and then went through financial. My financial, I just finished that, or didn't finish that one yesterday, started that one yesterday to add a new stream of income to my current situation. I want another stream of income. What is that going to be? How is that going to shake out? I didn't decide in the 4-day period what it is and how to do every part of it, but I did take a step in that direction of what it's going to be and what it's going to look like. And I'll continue to work on that for the rest of the 40-day challenge and probably beyond, right? So today, one thing I wanted to share with you, which I thought was super interesting, and I started the story out with, was in the notebook that I chose to do this 40-day challenge in. I have lots of notebooks around my house, and I'll start something in them, and then most of the pages will be blank. And so I'm like, well, I'm going to use that notebook. Well, I was paging through it this morning, and I found from September of 2014 my daily 7. I used to pick back in 2014. Every day I would have daily 7 things that were my main focuses, right? Now, since then, since I've come online, I learned that a daily 7 is way too many, but it can be my daily 7 for things I want to. It can be in alignment with the 7 areas of your life. Hey, one thing in each area that you just want to keep in your subconscious working toward. Or I'm going to share my exact 7 with you, what my list was, because I was kind of excited and happy to find this. And then I had a whole lot of notes that I read this morning. My vision from 2014, visualizing my why from 2014, my comfort zone, massive action that was required in certain areas of my life, and I have a list of what those areas were. And I'm glad to say some of them are done. Actually, let's say out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of 8 things that was on this list, 1 is done, 2 is done, 3 is done, 4 is done, 5 is done, 6, health, nope, still working on that, and actually I let that slide since 2014. Relationships, and look at relationships was still on my list back in 2014, and probably before then, right? So I think one of the biggest lessons I learned from this and reading this, and then 8 is a continuously improving, always ever improving thing. It's like to be myself. It says love myself, help others, be me always. Now, always be myself. So of those things, most of them have been accomplished, but they've also been replaced with something else. I didn't just, okay, I did, I got divorced. So my divorce, and it wasn't until 2015 I got divorced, got divorced, but it was on my list then, right, in 2014. Now, even though that's done, that's one aspect of relationships, but relationships is still on my list. It's an ongoing area of my life that I always want to be continually improving. So what were my daily 7? My daily 7 were: number 1, gratitude; number 2, visualize what you want, ideal life 12 months from now, and using all your senses. 3rd was a mirror exercise, where you smile in the mirror and say, I unconditionally love myself right now. Thank you, Louise Hay. Louise Hay taught me that one. The 4th one was nature, and it was spend 4 minutes a day at least just looking out the window or sitting on the porch or being in nature. And again, involve all your senses. Just go sit outside or go be outside or go look out a window and focus on, and I did it because I, number 1, love nature, but number 2, nature shows us all of the universe's abundance. And when we spend time observing that with all of our senses, it reminds us that we're infinite, abundant beings as well. So number 5 was help others, and that was, relationships. Number 6, plan a trip. And number 7 was sleep more. Guess what? It's still a great list. So I just thought it was really interesting and it was really great that I was doing this and had this, because right after that, my father was diagnosed with brain cancer, and we lost him, or he transitioned on December 21st of that year. So it was just a few months. He was sick, and we knew something was wrong, but they couldn't figure out what was wrong with him. And it wasn't actually until November, after his birthday on November 15th, November 16th, that he went to Mayo, and they figured out, okay, this is what's really wrong. And before that, he'd had lots of heart challenges and strokes, and then he had cancer, lymphoma, and they thought they had gotten it all and then it was gone. But a lot of times what happens with that type of cancer, had it in his spinal fluid, is it comes back as brain cancer. And so I don't know why they weren't looking for that and screening for that, but they missed it, and he passed away. And doing this daily 7, having routines, having direction in my life, and being actually working on these 7 areas of my life on a continuous basis helped me to get through a really rough period with my family and with my dad and all of that. So what now? What do you do now? I say you just keep rotating through and continually improving your life, and you can use the soap as a foundation of that. Again, tomorrow I'm picking relationships. I'm obviously still going to work on relationships for my whole life. So tomorrow I will be doing relationships, the relationship area, and I will share my S about relationships. So today in the comments below, all I want you to do, and if you want, you can put PMESFRC, or you can write it out. You can write out the word physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, financial, relationship, contribution. What area are you going to go through the soap model with me through? What area are you going to go through for you, but we're going to do it together. I'm picking relationships, obviously, huge one for me. I'll tell you, there's a super area I need to be vulnerable in, not for you, but for myself. I need to be really upfront and honest with myself in terms of relationships and where I am with them and versus where I want to be. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. All you have to do today is ask yourself, what now? What do I want to work on now? What do I do now? And I say, pick another area to continually improve in, or pick the same area. I've often gone through extended periods and challenges like this, working on the same area to really dive deeply and get it the framework ingrained in my being as I go through the same area of my life. So I could have stuck with physical. I could go through physical over and over and over again until I get to the point where I've got the core systems that I need, the core habits and rituals I need for my perfect health in place. My perfect physical health, I'm talking. But instead, I want to go through the different ones and make sure I've got the foundation set for each of those areas of my life. I'll let you in on a little secret of what I'm doing. For each of these areas, as we're going through it, I'm picking what are my big 3 things. What are the big 3 things I want to be working on and over the next 6 months, not just through the 40-day challenge. What are the 3 big things I need to be doing for my physical well-being, for my financial well-being? And then I will do my relationships. And then after that, I'll go through the other 4 areas and make sure I have a big 3 for each of those. And that's something, it's like my vision, my big 3 vision, my big 3 things I know will move me toward the success and the level of I guess, good feeling that I have in each of those areas, or that I'm striving for in each of those areas of my life. Do I want to be a 10 in all of them? No, I actually don't. I do not ever want to be what I would consider, and remember, we define the levels ourselves. I don't ever want to be a 10 physically. I'm not going to be I'm 60 years old. I'm not going to be a bodybuilder at this point. I'm not going to, be somebody. I'd like to be in an awesome physical shape for my age and for me personally, so I have the energy and the drive to do what I want, but I don't ever want to be a 10. I'd like to be closer to a 9 or a 10 for my mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being and health in those areas. Financially, do I want to be a 10? Do I want to be a billionaire? I always used to think I want to be a multimillionaire billionaire. And now I'm really wishy-washy on that, because it's just, is it necessary? No. Is it necessary to make a difference in the world at the level I want to? Maybe. But do I have to be a billionaire, or do I just want to control enough resources to have that kind of an impact on the world? I'm more about, hey, let's move the resources around to make sure that we're having the impact that we want. But do I have to have it in my possession? Absolutely, positively not. Relationships, that area, I'd like to have a couple 10 relationships. Who wouldn't? But do I expect all of my relationships to be a level 10? No, because people are in and out of our lives for a reason and for a season and for a time. They're not in our life to be in our life at a level 10 for our entire life, at least very rarely. So that is our challenge for today. What now? What the heck are you going to do now? What area are you going to work on? And you can just start thinking about it. You know the process now, so start thinking about the process and maybe what are your big 3 for that area. I cheated this morning and I already wrote down my big 3 for relationships when I ran across this page, because I'm like, oh, that's perfect. Let's pick a big 3. All right, have an awesome day. If I can help you in any way, if you have any questions, if you're struggling with anything in the soap process, please ask in the comments below. We need to do a Q&A to make sure everybody's getting their needs met and their questions answered. But don't be afraid to ask. Never be afraid to ask. All right, have an amazing day, and I will, of course, see you tomorrow.